Think I'm the only one here going to be talking. You're wrong. I can't hear you. Oh, my goodness. Did you little of that about Adam and Eve? Was that not cool? Huh. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking about from dust we came, from dust we go. Because I remember that little girl that told her mom, she came in there after that sermon, went home, and I'll come in all excited. Mom said, what's wrong with you? She said, well, the preacher said today, he said, we're made from dust, and to dust we go. She said, yeah, that's what the preacher said. The little girl looked up and said, well, there's somebody in my room either coming or going. We've talked a lot about God's love, and the thing about it is there's things in there that affect us that in normal life we wouldn't understand as His love. But the overall principle of what He's teaching us is for us, for our freedom in Him. And it's not always, it reaches over to those that are out there, but it's got to flow in and for us before it reaches out to those who are out there. And today we're going to see one of those things that's probably not one of the easier things to accept that He tells us to do, but nonetheless He tells us to do it, so we got to bring it out. And we're looking at Matthew 5:44. We're going to start there. Bless you. How many times have you heard that? Bless you. Bless you. Have you ever sneezed? Somebody bless you. You know why they do that? Anybody have an idea why? Yep. Your soul lifts. There's two things. Once your soul left, it would bless it, so when it come back, it wouldn't bring any evil against it. And bless you would clear the evil that was in there, that it would come out in your sneeze. So that's where bless you came from. And I don't care if still bless people. I don't want any evil coming to them, but bless you now has just been a phrase of recognizing, instead of saying, oops, oops or whatever, you just say bless you. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just wonder, because that's what we're talking about, is blessing others. And it's always like the old saying is, you can always bless somebody. Everybody you meet, you can be a blessing to. And everybody that comes to you can be a blessing. Some by coming, some by leaving, but they're going to do one or the other. But they can be a blessing to you. I've had both of those. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. Didn't know that was in there. God's love is an all-encompassing love. God's love is a love in our lives that wants to bring out for us the very best, and we can give the very best to others. I don't know if I've told you this, but I've had a lot of people where we sing, well, God, what God gives, you give freely. Well, He gives me that love. He gives me His very life. And to reach others, I use what He's given me and let Him work through me to reach those who are in need. And what happens to those that bless you, that bless you by persecution, let me say? What about those who hate you? And He does tell us they hated me, so they're going to hate you. Why wouldn't they, right? So what do we do about that? I mean, how do we do that? We reach down inside ourselves. It's like forgiveness. We do it not only for them, but we do it for ourselves. We do it to show who we are in Him, who we stand with in Him by blessing others and reaching others. And believe me, there's been times I have not wanted to do it. Many times that I would rather, fire off and I call it my knee-jerk reaction. And that's why I've got bad knees now. I've got a brace on one of them because I've had too many knee-jerk reactions in my life. And God finally showed me that. And now I work on my knee-jerk reactions. I have to sit down and I'll think when somebody's upset me, somebody's been hateful to me or insulted me or anything on my beliefs or whatever, I sit down now. And I don't knee-jerk. When I feel that coming on, I said, no, I can't do this. What do you got for me, God? How do you want me to handle this situation? How do you want me to bring out the best? Because we saw this morning that between the Pharisees and the people that were in need, there was a difference in how it was handled. Some people come at you just because, well, they told Jesus, you're the devil. You're a drunkard. You're a wino. You party. And well, if they're going to say stuff like that against him, they're going to recognize us as our Christian walk. And if we do something wrong in their eyes, if we swerve off the road a couple of times, we're drunk driving, that type of thing. We can't help what they think about us, but we can help our reaction. And we can live with this or we can not live with this. And personally, they're going on with their lives and having a good time. All those folks that followed Jesus, for whatever reasons, most of them went back and went on with their life. They followed him for his show. They wanted to see the healings. They wanted to see his miracles. And he wasn't there to show them that. He was there to show them how God takes care of his people, to teach them how to walk in the way of being in heaven, to teach them the way of the King himself. Follow me because God, I follow God. You can follow me because I'm God incarnate. But yet they saw all the different things in him. So when they come against him, he's telling us, did he not do this? He didn't tell us to do this and not do this himself, right? What did he do from the cross? He looked out over a whole group, let's just call it a whole nation, and let them put him on the cross. And when he was hanging there and they were still cussing him and spitting him, what did he do? Forgive them, Father. They don't know what they do. That's love. That's love, to look at somebody and say, forgive you because you don't know what you're doing. You don't understand. You don't get it. And even his own 12 followed him and didn't understand. They didn't get it up until the end. We'll follow you all the way. Where are you going? Well, can you take this, can you drink this cup that I'm giving you? To love our enemies, to bless those who curse you. How do we do good to those who hate you? Wouldn't it be easier just to hate them back? Yes. Not really. Sorry. Yeah. It would be easier to give them back what they're giving you. And I'm not saying sometimes that you don't have to. Okay? I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying go against God when you do it. Sometimes you have to pull yourself away because of that. You have to get away from that situation. You got to get out of that situation, step back, and not knee jerk. Say, now how is it you want me to handle this, God? And sometimes doing good for somebody, to do good for him, we got to step out of the box and look. When he was doing what was for our best, what he wanted for us was our best, he stepped out of the picture and chastised us. Because if he didn't, he would have been enabling us to keep going on with what we're doing. And some of those people that hate you, some of those people that curse you and speak against you, you've got to step back. And you've got to look at the bigger picture and realize what they're doing in your life. And as long as it's messing up your life, they have the control and God don't. You have to step back and say, God, you've got to be in control of this. And God's a gentleman. He won't step in until you get with him and ask him. So you want to handle it? I'll let you. And I've done that many times, and it's like the prodigal son. I ended up cleaning toilets because of it. Until he said, go home. I'm here. When are you coming home? So when we look at these, how do we do good to hate you? Do we pray for those who spitefully use you? You ever had people just do things in spite of you? Just to spite you. Just to tick you off. Just because you're promoting yourself as a Christian and bringing yourself out there, and they tick you off. And they don't know the first thing about the Bible. That's what I love. When they come at me and say, well, you don't do this, and you don't do that, and you don't do this. How many times have you read your Bible? Well, I haven't. Don't come to battle wits half-witted. You know the Bible, and this is what God is. And this is where he's going to when he's telling us in Matthew. What do you think of the Lord's Prayer? Forgive us our transgressions as we Have you broke that one line out of that down? And what are they saying here in Kings, 1 Kings? And all their transgressions which they have transgressed against you. Forgive your people who sinned against you. You're living his life. You're living what's inside of you from him. So that is who you're bringing out. That's who you want them to see. And he's saying that, and it goes for us today, your transgressions which they have transgressed against you. And grant them compassion before those who took them captive, that they may have compassion on them. You never know what somebody might learn from you. Take the Roman guard. I mean, here's Paul and them singing. They were in chains and they were singing praises to the Lord. Their chains broke and nobody left. They give compassion to those Roman guards because anytime the Roman guards lost a prisoner, it meant death. But they didn't leave. They showed compassion on an enemy. The enemy turned and believed in their God because they showed the compassion of God. You never know when somebody that God's going to allow in your life to come into your life for that very thing. It may be your reaction that they see that's going to point them to him and say, wow, I've seen a lot of things in life. I've never seen anybody do that before. And I want to tell you a time I've seen this really work. I have seen God's hand move. Now I'll make this quick because there's a couple other things I want to get to. I have seen God move. We were in West Virginia, and the producer, the owner of the record company that I worked with in Nashville, he had a way of doing things, and it takes a while in Nashville for things to turn, records to turn. And there was a whole group that I was there with that recorded kind of together. And they, for their products, they were going to sue him because they hadn't got theirs. And they wanted me to go in with them in this. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. He'll get them. He saw me in West Virginia. And first thing he's coming, I'm going to get your CDs to you. I'm going to get that done. I looked at him, shook his hand, and said, I know you will. I got faith in you. God knows you'll do it. He burnt everybody's CDs extra that he had but mine, and he called me. And they answered, and they said, you can have yours at $1 a piece when it was like 10. We told them we couldn't afford them. Called back a little bit later and said, they said you could have them. If you want to pick them up in Knoxville, 800 CDs, and he'd give me for free when he burned everybody else's. Wasn't anything I done. It was not anything I done. All I did was take what God tells me in that knowledge and reach out and say, okay, I'm going to do it your way, Lord. And I just told him I believed in him. And I showed him the love that God could have for someone, no matter what they've been going through. And if there's one person out there, which might be you, that can show somebody the Lord's way, show somebody the true compassion that God gives, show somebody the true hand that they need, then you may be the very one that can turn their life. You may be the one. We look around and say, oh, I wish somebody could reach them for God. I wish somebody could reach them for God. Maybe you're the one that can. I don't look in the mirror enough. I'll be the first one to stand. I feel kind of like Paul does a lot of times. I'm probably the chief of sinners. But that's not me I'm talking about. It's what God does through me and in me. Some people say, well, you're a good man. No, I'm not. I'm like Jesus. Why do you call me good? The only thing good in me is what he's done, what he's transferred, what he can do through me. That's good. And I love it when he does. And I'm going to tell you this. When God blesses, and this is what it comes from Genesis, when he blesses someone or something, it is an effective blessing. Meaning it brings into reality what God says. It permeates speech and creative action in the Bible, which there is no neutral for. His love is unneutral. His love reaches out in truth. His love is not just all hugs and kisses and fuzzy feelings. His love is a real walking forth, demanding, reaching out love that changes lives. We've talked about how it changed the woman that was caught in adultery and the woman at the well. It changes lives because it fills voids that you can't find in anything else. That love runs through and says, yeah, I love you. And I don't mean just this kind of love. I don't even mean a relationship between my family. I mean a love that goes deep. It's a minute of let them. Sometimes you have to let them. And sometimes even with your kids, you have to let them go through things. You can't protect them all the way. Now, I'm going to tell you some don't do's when it comes to love. All right? The number one thing you don't dare do is to let them steal your joy. God give you that joy. It's not to be taken from anyone else. Don't you dare let them steal your light. The more they come upon you, the more your light's going to be shaded. The more they're doing, they hate you, they do this. As long as you allow that to be, then your light's shaded. Because you don't have to. All you got to do is show them Him. Don't dare let them steal your peace. Smack somebody. You know, I want to lay the holy smack of God in them, and I want to hit them in the head and lay them on the floor. And not in a good way. Because I'm telling you, I'm human. I have the same emotions you do. We are in control of our peace, our light, and our joy. You hold tight what you can control, and that's what God gives you. And you release your grip on what you can't. You can't control their reaction. You can't control their actions. You can't control their response. You can't sit there and hope, I hope they forgive you. I hope they forgive me. It doesn't matter. I always like to rock, you know. It doesn't matter what they think. You can't help that. But you can help you. And sometimes you may never even get to tell them or show them. But do it anyway. Sometimes you just have to say, I forget you, and that's a starting point. Or I forgive you. You can forget them too if you want to. I don't care. But I forgive you is a starting point. And anytime they crop up in your life, in your mind or anything, you say, that's okay. Lord, I've done forgave them. I don't have to deal with it. You understand what I'm telling you? It's not to love them. It's not to let them go. It's not to send them off. It's to let yourself go, still praying for them, still believing that God can change and work in their lives. You never give up on anyone. God can change anyone. And one day, by what you're showing them, just like the fellow I had in West Virginia, one day what you show them can make a difference down the road. And it does bring you blessings. When you bless others, you will be blessed. If nothing more than having a peace of God inside of you. I know this is not always the easiest things to say, but if Jesus says it, we need to put it in our lives. It's well worth it in the long run. But it takes a lot of prayer and a lot of seeking wisdom from Him, from others who've been there, who've walked this path. It takes a lot of that to go by. But in doing so, you release what the devil's trying to hold on you. Let's put it that way. And you walk in the faithfulness of the paths that God have walked. There's nothing here that Jesus hadn't walked. Especially when He was going against all the powers that be. And if He come back again, He would be showing us the same thing because we'd be doing the same thing. I'm afraid if He come back, we'd see that He got to the cross again. This day and time, we'd probably be wearing a little electric chair or a little thing where they give you the IVs because that's a method of execution. But He wore a cross. And He took it to his table. He took it to His table. He took what we had there. And He looks at us and tells us, Acts 26:18 says, to open their eyes in order to turn them from darkness to light and from the power of Satan to God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among those who are sanctified by faith in me. Don't go the way Jonah did. Jonah didn't want to go to Nineveh. He had no desire to go there because he didn't like those people. And he would rather go the other way and get caught up in a fish or a whale or whatever. But that taught him what God was asking. Go my way. I want those people to love. I want those people to know I forgive them. I want them to know my way. And I want you to teach them. My knee-jerk reaction had been the same thing. Because I didn't like those people. I don't want to be around those people. But yet that's who you said to go to. I don't mean all of us do. I'm saying follow His will. That's what I'm telling you. Because it's like it says here, you may be the one to open their eyes. You may be the one to turn them from the power of Satan to God. What a testimony. You may do that and never know it. Just because you're willing to walk in his way. His way is not always an easy way. He doesn't promise us in his word that he will be an easy way. Matter of fact, he said, when he talks about the narrow gate, which we heard a little earlier, the ones that were here. When you hear about the narrow gate, he means it. Because when you truly walk, somebody, you're Christian life. You're a Christian. You should be doing this. You're a Christian. You should be doing that. And they don't even know the Bible themselves. How do they know what I'm supposed to be doing? You realize what I'm saying when it comes to blessing those who curse you and persecute you? You just be the symbol of God. And I'm not saying be sweet and nice and all that. I'm just saying bless them. It also tells us here about pouring tons of hot coal upon their head. And there's times I think about, I'm going to bless you just because I want you to get burnt. And the way God burns them is the way it should be done. And it does work. I have seen it. Bless those who persecute you. Love those. Forgive them if they don't know what they're doing. I have told one fellow that. I said, I forgive you. He said, what do you mean? I said, I forgive you because you don't know what you're doing. Gives them something to think about for a moment, and you get a time to back away. I hope y'all get what I'm saying today. I really do. It's his love that we give to those others. And we're going to get hurt. We're going to get mad. We're going to get angry. We want to do things our way and go strike them out. We've seen how that's happened many times in the Bible. Hadn't worked out good. It's for us to be free in him. When we forgive, when we bless others, it's really for us to be free in him and let him be the control of our life. That's what it comes down to.